Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I always going to come against anti-black talking points that's out there disseminated in this mainstream media, especially the talking point that black Americans are more susceptible to disinformation than any other group. I take issue with that because what you're saying is the anti-black trope that black people aren't intelligent and we're just subjected to everything that comes our way, but everybody else isn't. Now, you have an article here out of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Nearly 80% of Americans are concerned about the spread of disinformation, with black people among the most targeted. Okay, so we're going to go through this and let's deal with this anti-black trope that we have to be dealing with in the media. Now, they claim that nearly 80% of Americans, they say 79% say what they read online can contain false or fake information that's deliberately disseminated to confuse. Yeah, they got people putting out false information all the time. That's why it's on you, the reader, to go say, hey, is that true? Then you go start looking for it. You know how people be out there saying certain people passed away? What's the first thing that I do? I go and check that. I go to different sources to see. And sometimes people have put out some fake information. So it's true. People do that. Now, they said the information that's deliberately disseminated to confuse with people, they saying people of color, right? But they said black people, but now they're saying people of color, the most targeted. Well, why is the so-called, and I don't know who people of color is, but I'm going to stick to black Americans. Why are black Americans the most targeted, allegedly? Why? What's so special about us? We're not even the majority of the population. I mean, if I'm a person that want to harm an election and things like that, wouldn't I target white people? Because there's more white Americans in this country than black Americans. I mean, just seriously, wouldn't I want to target them? Because they're the one that they are control of the judicial system and most of the government. And wouldn't I want to target them more than black Americans who don't have no control like that, who only own 4% of the wealth of the country? Who's literally at the bottom? Why would I want to just target them? Right? I'm just saying, just think. That's a recently released by Free Press, a media watchdog organization. They say a poll of 3,000 people. It's only 3,000 people, guys. So just remember this when you're thinking. Nationwide also found that 76% of the respondents expressed concern that they were reading disinformation online about the presidential election. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get more into that. When we ask where they get their news, more than 50% of the respondents named two sources, Facebook and YouTube. Black Americans, however, use two platforms for their news more frequently than white people do. The poll found while 63% of black people surveyed said they relied on Facebook for information, a few times a week, 56% of white people said they did. 56% of white people doing something actually is a larger number than black people. Don't base things off percentages. Think about actual population. So 56% of white people doing anything is going to be a lot more than 65% of black people doing something. Okay. Always keep that in mind. Now it says similarly, 65% of black people go to YouTube for news compared to 51%. So the Philadelphia Inquirer is admitting that the majority of black folks come to programs like this one to hear news and information. Why is that? They do that because we're part of their community. They do that because we know what they're going through, because we're going through the same thing. We're not giving them corporate BS. We're not pushing agendas. We're not pushing nothing on them, but just telling them what is in the news and disseminated through the voice of a black American. Now, they continue to say, once again, they use the term people of color. I don't know who they're talking about, who are disproportionately high users of online media, for news and information, and therefore likely to be impacted by the choices that platform companies and legislators that regulate them make. Said S. Derek Turner. He's a senior policy analysis advisor for Free Press. He said to help conduct the poll, Free Press used the services of the African American Research Collaborative, a group of pollsters, scholars, and researchers. Now, BSP Research, a polling firm, was also connected to the project. Both domestic and foreign operatives have specifically targeted people of color. Who is that? I don't know. To spread disinformation online meant to undercut their votes and stir race-based discord. Okay, let's go there. There's nobody online that can stop me from going vote. I have a voter registration card. I have a driver license for ID. I have a U.S. passport as well for an ID. Nobody online can stop me to go vote. I'm the only one that can stop me to go vote. Nobody on YouTube, Facebook, or no other platform controls my movements like that. So stop. The second thing, the stir race-based discord, Facebook, YouTube, or none of that has nothing to do with that. That's your policies in the United States of America that stir race-based discord. That's the inequality in the area of jobs, wealth, etc. The criminal justice system that stir race-based discord. It's not Facebook or YouTube. And those are just avenues for people to express the issues that's already going on and what they got going on, period. Right? You could take Facebook away tomorrow, YouTube away tomorrow. Guess what? The race-based discord is still going to be here because that's a symptom of anti-black racism and white supremacy in America. So they say Facebook and YouTube are the go-to news sources for black people because they're key sites for community building, said a Timothy Welbeck, director of Temple University's Center for Anti-Racism and professor of African American Studies. And we know how well that goes with those African American Studies courses. He said people who are marginalized in everyday life find like-minded community on social media. He said black people understand that disinformation is a tool to disrupt social progress. He said it's been used against them to disrupt access to voting or encourage apathy about voting. No. A person, yes, they want to listen to people in their community. It's not disrupting access. I haven't seen no one in my town that has been disrupted from access to voting. Everyone can go vote early voting. When it starts, I encourage early voting. I encourage it. I actually encourage early voting because you don't want to be on that election day and everybody in your way. Early voting, you come in, go vote, you go out. It's just that simple. Like myself, I'm going to vote. I'm going to repeat that again. I am going to vote in the election. And the first day, I already planned it out. I'm going to go that day in the gym, go do my workout, come back, dress myself up, bring my ID, and I'm going to go vote that morning. And I'll be done with it. And I promise you, nobody on YouTube, Facebook, or any platform is going to stop that from happening. It's just that simple. You say to encourage apathy. What creates voter apathy is not doing nothing for black Americans. That's not encouraging apathy. People are encouraged to vote when they get something, right? But at least with black Americans, if you give black Americans something, they will be encouraging everybody to go vote. But see, the Democrat Party has given to everybody, and yet they're just leaning on black people, talking about save democracy, help us, or whatever. Because they're afraid that if Donald Trump get in office, it's on and popping. That's what they're afraid of right now. So they basically asking black Americans to please come vote for us because Donald Trump going to put us in jail. They continue to say black Americans have purposely been given incorrect addresses for polling places, as well as incorrect times for voting, sometimes by Russian bots. I haven't leaned on nobody, and I don't know nobody in the audience that has leaned on anybody on social media to tell you where to go vote. You mean to tell me, if you're watching this on your mobile device right now, you mean to tell me your Google app, your Bing app, or whatever app you're using to search, you mean to tell me you can't type in voting locations near me and they're not going to tell you where to go vote? Stop. Nobody looking at nobody on no Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else and say, where is the place I should go vote? I don't even live in the same city as a lot of people watching right now. So how am I give them a place to where they should go vote? That's stupid. This is straight propaganda, Philadelphia Inquirer. As well as giving incorrect times for voting. Once again, Google, Bing, and whatever else you want to use will give you the accurate times. Sometimes by Russian bots. Oh boy, here we go. We back to the Russian bots thing. Y'all are so desperate about that Russian bot thing. Russian disinformation operatives have also disseminated lies about race and social issues to foment unrest in the black community, according to U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Okay, the Russians didn't cause the anti-black racism in this country. I haven't seen a Russian. When it came to George Floyd, did the Russians do that? When it came to Breonna Taylor, did the Russians do that? What about Ahmaud Arbery? Did the Russians do that? What about Freddie Gray? Did the Russians do that too? So when we talk about issues like that, we talk about how we're discriminated against in housing. Did the Russians do that? When we talk about discrimination in the job market, we got to work 10 times harder and not even paid the same. Did the Russians do that too? Stop sitting up there blaming white Russians. It is you white Americans who've done that crap. Don't be trying to point the blame at Russia. Russians ain't even thinking about our behind. They're surely not making the laws here, are they? I have not met a Russian in the black community, not a one. It's rare if any black American actually met a Russian. So stop. They say for years, Facebook has been criticized for allowing its algorithms, which determine what people see on the platform, to amplify fake news and hate speech, while calling Facebook a positive force in the world, according to what Mark Zuckerberg says. Of course he's going to say that. That's his business. But he's apologized for not taking a broad enough view of Facebook's responsibilities regarding misinformation and other difficulties. Black people, they said, have to be more vigilant about checking the sources of their news, said a Mark Temple, executive director of Philadelphia chapter of Concerned Black Men, a nonprofit providing role models and mentors for youth. He said folks are using social media as research. Well, they're not going on to research the research. And now with artificial intelligence out there, with all that false information, you can get egg on your face if you only read Facebook and don't do your homework. Now, Free Press's poll finds are not surprising. Caller David Call, he's a professional of communication and misinformation expert at Penn State. He said people are becoming more aware that there are powerful forces, such as political actors, using social media to confuse and mislead people. But notice, y'all, they're not saying how they're misleading people, examples of the misleading, other than giving incorrect voting days and hours and times and locations. How they're doing it, so we all can see it, so we all can combat it. But yet you don't say it. You're just throwing the term out there and you keep repeating it. Misinformation, disinformation. When they keep doing that in any kind of news piece you're reading, they are trying to stick them terms in your head, right? He continues to say there is so much disinformation out there. He says an example is the falsehood that President Joe Biden used his influence to get former President Donald Trump convicted in Trump's recently adjudicated hush money case in New York. He said no one can prove the conspiracy theory that says Biden did it, but many readers of social media don't care because they want to believe it, as well as their political party that says it. And that belief, along with the emotion it evinces, is beyond fact and it is sacrosanct. I'll say, okay, all right. So for people kind of questioning the timing of all the prosecutions of Trump, so now that's a conspiracy theory. Donald Trump been out of office all this time. And right when he goes to run, now all of a sudden y'all throwing every case at him that you got. Them cases been sitting there. That hush money case been sitting there even when he was in office. You didn't prosecute the moment he got out? What about the records that you say he took? Why didn't you prosecute that case? You said that he tried to influence the election in Georgia. Why didn't you prosecute that case when he got out? Y'all said y'all had him on the phone. The American people is questioning that. Why this time? Why now? Why didn't y'all do this when he was out of office? Listen, if y'all did this when he was out of office, and let's say he went to jail or whatever, then he probably wouldn't be running right now, right? So he was all good until he decided to run for office. That's what the American people are questioning. But according to y'all, if the American people have any questions and say, hey, man, that don't look right, then it's a conspiracy theory. Well, y'all said a lot about conspiracy theory during the pandemic, and then now y'all admitting with a lot of the so-called conspiracy theorists, what they were saying during the pandemic, now y'all admitting it is true. What they were saying, but y'all was attacking people, labeling them misinformation, disinformation, taking people's social media platforms, forcing, and we know that the Biden administration that came out, they placed people in Google for them to say, hey, take this down, take that down, take this down, take that down. That came out. And during the pandemic, people were saying that, hey, man, this seems like it's government censorship now. What is this? And it came out. But during that time period when people said it, you'll label it as conspiracy theory. Maybe the people, just maybe, in my opinion, who's out here saying some things, they own to something. But I noticed that when they own to something, you call them a conspiracy theorist. But if they're actually lying, just call them a liar. Say, hey, these people are lying. Here's the evidence of the lie. Of this is the truth. So we can debunk this liar. They always say you're a conspiracy theorist, but they never call you a liar. The term liar in showing the truth is way more powerful than just calling somebody a conspiracy theorist. Prove it. Just prove what they say that they're lying. All you gotta do is prove it. Once you prove it, it's dead. Anybody who has a common sense will say, hey, okay, you prove that to be a liar. I can't listen to a liar. But no, they just want to keep doing the same thing. We've been hearing these terms, conspiracy theorists, misinformation, disinformation, during every election cycle. Y'all, those words don't hit the same no more. It just don't. And I'm not going to sit up here and let you just constantly point out my community with an anti-black racist trope to say we ignorant, that we're so mindless that we let some lady or some man on social media who we don't even know tell us times to vote, voting locations, and they don't live in our city. Like, really? Like, y'all got to try harder. Try harder. Listen to me. Try harder. No, listen. If you want black people to vote for you, just listen. Because this is a whole Democrat hit piece. Give black Americans what they're asking for. Give us our just due. That's it. All you got to do is give us the tangibles we're asking for, and you're good on election day. You're good. But you're hell-bent on not giving us anything. That's what it is. And this is a new day and time. See, our older brothers and sisters was cool with you not doing much for them because they felt they got something out of y'all, the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, etc. Well, we're a new group of black people. We are the children of those who already had that. We need something different. And I know y'all gonna not hold the line. You're not gonna give black people anything. You'll lose the election before you give black people something. And that's okay. You maybe need to lose that election. And then maybe in 2028, you can come on back and let's have that conversation once more time. And now you're gonna say, oh, now you bring something to the table. See, you want us to attend a buffet and everybody else is eating the buffet, but black Americans' plate is empty. No, black Americans say, I want my plate full. I want my plate running over food. So much so that I got to take it home. I'm not going to sit up here and watch the Asian have his plate full, the Arab, the white person, the Hispanic person, the Native American person. I'm not going to sit here and watch everybody have their plate full while I'm sitting up here with an empty plate watching them eat. Like most people why would you invite somebody to eat food and then you're not going to feed them? You're going to have them just sitting there with an empty plate? That's all? And you may give them some water, but you're not giving them no food to eat? But yet you're telling the person with the empty plate to pay for the meal. Isn't that funny? We don't have no food, but you're telling us to pay for the meal so these other people can eat. That's equivalent to what you're telling us. That's what equivalent. And what black Americans say, look, if we going to pay for the meal, we eating. And what we're also saying, they got to pay for their own meal now. So if I'm not eating, they not eating because we ain't paying for it, AKA we're not voting for them, Democrats, Because the Democrats going to take our money, which is our vote, and make sure to provide the meal to all these other groups. No. So either we all eat or we all got an empty plate. That's what black people are saying right now. Now, you got some black people that's cool with empty plate, but black people with common sense, nah, we are not going to go out there and feed everybody else and we ain't fed. Nah, that's not happening. Nope. We want our belly full too. And it's just that simple. And that's why y'all are mad. It's not no misinformation, disinformation. It's just what black people are living. And that's why they resonate more with black people on these microphones than any of you.